I know that Jacksonville is an import center for shipping across the Atlantic.
Right.
And possibly even from the Pacific going through
Absolutely.
the Panama Canal. Could you comment on the shipping industry here in Jacksonville?
So Jacksonville's a city on the move. That's kind of it's something that stuck with me. We're a rail center. We're a transportation hub for over the road. It's literally where 95 and I-10 meet. If you think about that, that's the entire country. The southern half of the country gathers in Jacksonville at the east end. And then there's your port. And on top of that is aviation. We have a very vibrant aviation industry here. And FedEx moves a lot of freight. There's a very, very big transportation hub. And the port's critical for that. We're growing our port. We're dredging it, which is a big controversial issue, and I think we need to really make sure we don't do more damage than good. But I think that dredging is worth doing as long as there's a return for it. If we just dredge to dredge, I'm not happy about it. But we're trying to accommodate a class of ship that requires more water. We're trying to stay competitive with other ports. We have some major infrastructure that makes that a really good common sense thing, and there are some jobs. There's a whole element of the LNG, which is a kind of a switch from coal and other related energies to liquefied natural gas, and that's on the table. They've hit a couple of stumbling blocks with some of the infrastructure with that not many people know about, and I hope they can work through that. It's one of those subjects that there's no real downside to it unless we do it wrong. If we dredge and cut the river out and it caves in and we lose some part of the river, or it silts and stays silted and never recovers. These are things we have to be aware of, and the Army Corps looks at them. They've been studied pretty well. I see some indication that there's some minor failure in some of the curve collapse right away and some other stuff. These things worry me as a person that's out on the water that understands Jacksonville's waterways really well. I want to hear more about that. If I get into the mayor's office, I want to find out where we're at with some of that and actually dig into it, make sure what we think we're getting is what we're getting, because sometimes if no one's watching, we're not. But I think it's good overall. I think it's good for jobs. I think it's a good idea as long as it's well thought out, and we don't pay too much to get it done and never get our return. That's a good industry to look at.
You have a new governor here in Florida. Do you know him, and did you ever work with him?
So no, he's from the area. It's ironic, we've never crossed paths, and I don't work with him. But I'm very, very happy with his performance. He's reached across lines that people didn't expect. He's done things with the environment that we all, if you're really a Floridian, you know that the water is our lifeblood. It's the reason most of us are here. And this governor had the insight to reach down into the area where the most damage was being done, into the Everglades and other areas. He's looking at up in Central Florida. There's a similar situation with a dam that dried up an entire area. So he's making these moves